You're listening to the voice of IWA Flip here on Interfed Radio. Welcome to another edition of Play Your Way. Special guest in studios, Jim Crawford. Jim, welcome to the show.
Flip, thank you so very much for having me. This is an honor.
Oh man, dude! You know what? In the last, I guess the pre-show talk that we had, man, I had a kick, and like I said, I don't think this is the last one, brother. But let's get people to know you, man, because
Sure.
yeah. Now, obviously, people listening, to the show, very familiar with the IWA. A lot of us grew up playing the game, and kind of came back to the game. But you have a different story to tell. Different story.
I got a long story to tell.
Oh,
so
man.
yeah, well, we want to talk about the how we got here, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it started with this IWA game, but then you went, you took the path of another.
Yeah. It's been a long journey to here. Yeah. So my roots in this world started somewhere, I think, around 1986 when a friend of mine introduced me to the IWA. He'd been playing like other types of play-by-mail games, basketball and like sports games and everything. And we were big on wrestling, the old After Wrestling magazines, because at the time we didn't get it. We pretty much only got the WWF here in the Northeast. And next thing you know, we stumbled across this IWA, and we both joined, and I think, we were hooked. Like, wow, this is great. Like, the competition, and the IWA then was very character based. Every lots of promos, angles, storylines. That's really what drove the game. You didn't know who anybody was. But so we started playing this, and we got pretty obsessed with it, and for a couple months. And but then, being that we were two nerdy dreamers, we started talking a lot about like the things we didn't like about the game. And next thing you know, we hey, let's start our own game.
Nice.
And again, this yeah, well, it depends who you ask. you know we wanted to do something different. There was things like it drove me nuts that you couldn't wrestle. I got in some great feuds with people, and it drove me nuts that I couldn't wrestle them more than once a month. And it was, it didn't so much have to do with hating on the IWA, just like, being teenagers and dreamers and everything, and
So
it
you
became a
wanted
challenge. Like,
you wanted to have a cage match and a ladder match and a lumberjack
oh,
match all in one
I wanted
cycle.
to bleed. Yeah. Like, I wanted, again, it was, I still am a very obsessive compulsive person. So it was, it was about wanting more, and again, I wouldn't be here still doing this, the FWA, if it wasn't for Johnny B coming up with such a great idea. And, but so we, next thing you know, we start writing some computer programs to simulate matches. And long story short, a year later in '87, I launched the FWA. I'd gotten to be friends with some of the big IWA stars at the time, a guy named Alex Dallas. And we had been corresponding. He lived in Canada, and we'd been writing back and forth, occasionally a phone call. And next thing you know, he's like, "Yeah, I'll try your game out." And some of the other big stars at the time were like there was a character named Hyper Mike Piper, was a big deal. I believe they all
Okay,
played in the GML.
Jim, one moment, because
Yes.
you're not going to throw the initials FWA out there and not tell us what I mean. I mean, and now you've been around longer than I have in this business. So I mean, the FWA, I'm sure there's people out there that when you said it, the bells went
Yeah.
like bling bling bling. Hey, I know this. But for retards like myself, what FWA means?
The Fantasy Wrestling Alliance.
The
Simple as
Fantasy
that.
Wrestling Alliance. I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So the launch of the Fantasy Wrestling Alliance, and and now you start making millions, and you decide to sell your stocks on the block, or what happened?
Well, the game went on for, let's see, 87, 88, and then 89, and that was version one, and the old common phrase, life takes over, life gets in the way, I think is actually the phrase. So we wound up having to shut down. Just it was unfortunate, but we did, and I kind of went back to I don't know, the things that I get into for a couple of years. But next thing you know, flash forward to like around '94, my buddy Mike Green starts coming at me like, we should start that wrestling game back up, and then next thing you know, version 2 hits the market, and it was great because all the guys that were in it in the late '80s, they came running right back like, yeah, we're in, and
Nice.
yeah, it just took off from the get go, and so from immediately we had a great group of managers with great characters, doing great storylines and feuds, and we started branching out a little bit. Really didn't pay much attention to what was going on in the IWA at the time, except for what people that heard about us through mutual friends would find out and relay to us, and So next thing you know, we decided to do some advertising in like PWI and Wrestling World, and I was introduced to some guys. Just to throw a couple names around, there was Matt Barkowitz, there was Mike Pasiga. Next thing you know, I got guys like AJ Honnold playing the game, and guys that were they'd never heard of any other games, just the IWA. They start giving us a try, and gets bigger and better. So next thing you know, we're up to like 12 leagues, and a lot of people. You just your recent podcast with Howie Sandberg were awesome, and Howie even made an appearance in the FWA back then.
Nice. Now
it was a very brief appearance, and he wrote a great promo, and I'll leave it at that.
Now let's let's backtrack a little bit. So you decide to make your own game. That alone is, like I told Howie, kudos to you guys for even just taking that leap, and seeing where it goes. And but now, those first couple of cycles had to have been tough. Are you trying to send out bulletins like the IWA? Are you
Yeah, yep. We actually, when we opened the FWA for the second time, it was actually pretty easy. Like, I didn't realize then, like, because again, we had all these people coming back, and like from day one, 3 leagues to start. Next thing you know, the next month I had opened 3 more leagues, and I had players. The leagues were filling up fast. Then when we started advertising, people from the IWA started coming over, and people were finding out about us for the first time. And there was another big game back then called the CWF. I think he was either from Ohio or Illinois, and they had wound up closing. And that's when people like Steve Shetler and Julius Hudson and the Acer and all these great managers started flooding the game, and not flooding, but coming into the game. And they made it very easy. In fact, it was a little overwhelming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must have been a great it must have been a great feeling, like you said, to get that that warm, welcoming back,
Yeah. It was also an interesting time because this is like '95, so you just had this new thing come about called the internet. So
the World Wide Web? What?
Yeah, the interwebs, and so we had to email from the start second time, and obviously it wasn't quite then what it is now, but we were definitely still a play by mail game then, and the with the CWF closing down, those managers coming in, and it was just awesome. It was a great time.
Now you say it, and people. Obviously, our generation that plays this game and the people listening, no. But I mean, it was mail or nothing back in the day. There was no other option. I mean, you're talking
No.
95. I mean, yeah, there was message boards, but I mean, for crying out loud, those message boards were all flashing text or something else. It wasn't what it's like nowadays. I mean, so yeah, it was you had to have a mailer at that day and age, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, it was again the whole focus of the game was again getting those bulletins out and
Okay,
then repeating.
let's talk a little bit about those bulletins. Did you go out and invest in like an AB Dick duplicator? You became a professional printer and or did you go the Xerox route?
I did. I mean, I had spells where I was spending way too much time at Kinko's
Nice.
but I
Yeah.
also I did own my I still lived at home back then. My mom would just roll her eyes I every couple months I'd be coming home with like a desktop photocopier.
Oh,
I was
nice.
I was always
Oh,
scanning like the classifieds or something, people selling business equipment looking. I mean, at one point, like the business had grown to the point where like I was talking to companies about leasing photocopiers. I mean, anything to drive down. I mean, the huge cost in that, and
man,
honestly, with what you pay now to photocopy,
oh,
uh, I
I,
don't,
oh,
no way, man.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I can only imagine, brother. I mean, shout out to the IWA for finally going green as well and realizing that they could save money on entries.
Yeah, the closest I want to get to a printable bulletin right now is here's a PDF.
Right. Yeah.
That's that.
But now, so your adventures with printing and all that led you away from it that second time as well, or
Now again, the second time it was, I got married and
oh, life.
finished college and
What? No.
well, sort of actually. I really didn't.
You got far enough where you got hired. That's just the way it works.
That's exactly it. Please come and work. And I got sucked into that. Next thing you know, the kids were coming, and it got too much. So I actually there's a he's still in the IWA and the FWA these days. A guy named Scott Franklin, and I actually he's been a loyal supporter and friend for a long time. I actually tried to set him up to take over running the FWA for me at we were gonna when we shut down the second time, and it unfortunately just it didn't work out. I really wanted to keep it going. The other funny thing in this story is my best friend who I run the FWA with now, my Mike Green, who talked me into restarting up the FWA the second time. He had started his own game called the FWW towards the end of my second FWA run, and we had some brief negotiations about him buying it from me, and he just really wanted my contact list anyway. And he actually at that time when he created the FWW, he wasn't doing the Bolton thing. He was because this is like 98, 99 at this time. He was doing the whole trying to move it to a website.
Oh, EFED.
Yeah, well, but still with a match program to determine the results and kind of simulate what you do in the play-by-mail world with the bulletins and just reproduce that on a website, which is kind of where we're at now with the FWA.
I I can definitely. I mean, before we hit record, I got on with Jim and we were looking through the website that they got going, and yeah, definitely impressive, brother. I mean, like I said, you have my full 5-star approval. You have my full five, whatever that means. I have no idea, but yeah, it looks great, brother. Yeah,
Well,
definitely
I appreciate
definitely see
that.
the
Thank
hours
you.
behind it.
We,
Well, wait. If I can add this, because
yeah,
I think this is very important. So, before Jim and I start talking, I go, Jim, I got some ideas for you because one of the things that that bugs me is the fact that when I'm inputting my numbers, or when I email my numbers to them, to the IWA, that is, and much love and respect to the IWA, but they
Of course.
do have the tendency to botch the strategies from time to time. Not always, not all, not every time, but from time to time, something happens and there's a mix-up, either with my holds or with my matches. Like I said, nothing but love and respect, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
happens. And he's all like, I was like, can you have something where you can just pull down and pick your? He's all like, I already got it, Flip. I'm like, I go, well, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
You know what? What really comes down to, Flip, is I don't want to do your data entry. I mean, like,
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely a time saver on both ends, brother. I mean, it
yeah,
saves my time of pulling out my hair from when they mess up, and your time from inputting.
yeah. Everything now is on the website. Like the whole game, like we were talking, the concept here with what the FWA is now was really to take what we did as a play-by-mail game and just move it to a website. And the website is the container. It's where everything happens. It's where you go in and you create your wrestler, and his profile, his strategy, pick his moves, and you join into a league, and everything instead of sending bulletins, it's right there on the screens. And the intent was to, again, try to replicate what on the screens, what we did in the bulletins, and I think it still comes pretty close. And everything's there for you guys. And but then we really wanted to extend the hell out of it, provide the events, the pay-per-views, and tie it all together, and more functionality. Like again, one of the biggest things for me when we got going is back when I was an IWA player, you created the original forms. You wrote a bio and how the height and the weight of the wrestler, and any other ring and entrance music and all that kind of stuff. And we where did it go? So one of the biggest things for me was we have the ability to, you can scan through every active wrestler's profiles and look at
Yeah,
their
I thought
images.
I thought that was definitely a nice aspect, to be able to see, who's there, to be able to. I mean, there is no hiding, and I've had that discussion with a couple other managers where, they basically, especially for angle based players,
Yeah,
it becomes trouble, because it's like, unless you're sending in your bio every cycle, it doesn't appear, but the one where you originated, you know,
yeah, yeah. And,
so.
and again, simple technology. It's up to you guys to maintain, your wrestler's profile. And we have some great ideas coming. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have a staff of 3 or 4 more programmers to work on it. So it's all done by me. And but the idea here is to do something that's not out there. But
Yeah,
like you were
and I
talking
think
earlier,
I think it's safe to say, Jim, and I think we probably should have started with this. I mean, this
yeah,
isn't something that you're targeting to like compete with the IWA. It's a
no,
completely different it's a
not at
completely different
all.
platform. I think it's on a different level. I
Yeah,
mean, obviously,
we
it's a
definitely,
great companion. I
yeah,
think it's a great companion to it.
yeah. How he said that a couple times throughout the podcast you did with him, like when he mentioned us and said it's great that there's an alternative. I mean, that's part of it. But for me, it's a great idea. And we want to do something different. Like I don't want to be in competition with them. I want to build. I want to incorporate you know things from e-feds and play by mail and anything else. I want we do have a stereotype that people tend to think we are just a, like, role player character game. That's not necessarily true. We have no problems. Wouldn't have any problems propping up leagues that it's all about winning titles and glory. We have what we like to think some modern philosophy towards this. We want the players, you guys playing the game, to tell us how the game should work. We want that input. And our philosophy is it's always evolving. It's never going to be done. It's going to just continue to grow. And especially like again, me going back to the early mid '80s when the IWA first started, watching the evolution of the game and how it's changed throughout the last 30 some years. That's to me that's why it's really important to always be in a position to grow and change.
Oh, you have to. I mean, kudos to the IWA. Like you said, they continue to morph and change to what the players desire or the players needs are within itself. And I think that's a healthy way to also run your game. And like you're saying, it's like, hey, it's an intimate enough setting where, hey, if you need something, you can reach out and say, hey, is this possible? Is this something? I mean, like we were talking about the graphics, just before we hit record, and you were like, hey, yeah, definitely something we could accommodate in that, for that sense, or for that particular type of a promo, or for that particular type of a event, something we can definitely accommodate to go on the board. So I thought that was that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that comes with the some problems as well. I mean, you're never gonna, we face it, and I know the IWA faces it. You're not gonna please everybody. Like
Oh yeah.
we we rolled out like last September. We rolled out some changes to the game, like our match program, where we wanted the finisher move to be set apart from your regular 50 moves. Which was how our match program, your strategy, you pick 50 moves and a finisher, and then you can name your finisher. And so what we did is we added a piece to the code so that every time you wrestle an opponent, when it got to your finisher, there would be like a random incrementer, and anywhere from, I think it was like 11 to 36 points. And the idea there was to, provide some kind of random, part to the game that could potentially, produce a different result if the same two wrestlers wrestled on multiple occasions.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
right, oh, they hated it. Everybody,
Oh, nice.
everybody
So everybody was all like, no, we want something where we know what's gonna happen.
and I get their point. Like they were like, we study the point values and all the all the point values for
Oh,
each
gotcha.
move,
So
and now
there was
you're
no.
adding random value at the end, and it's why should I even track anything? It's just all so random. It's random, random, random. That
Oh,
became like a
gotcha. So they wanted to be like what is it? Puzzle solvers. They wanted to be able to solve the puzzle.
right. Which I get that whole part of the game. We work really hard at it. Me and the co-owner Mike Green. I mean, we do our strategy program works where you have 104 moves to pick from, and you pick 15 plus a finisher, and we assign point values of 11 to 36 four times for each value. Okay, and so these guys, I mean, we provide the ability to pull down, a spreadsheet download of all the recently used point value sets, and guys are hardcore about tracking these numbers and picking the best strategy. And that's a great and important part of the game that we want to make sure everybody that likes doing that has a fun time doing it. But it seems to cause more frustration. But
Okay,
that,
okay.
that's
Now,
that
now,
part that's part of it's part of the game.
now, now, let's get to the other part of the game, because
Yeah.
people that are listening, they're probably wondering. They're like, okay, let's talk business. I want a contract. So, something like this, Disney Plus subscription is about $7 a month.
Yeah.
So something like this, because it's more intimate, so you're gonna charge people, what, $15 a month to
Yeah.
subscribe.
This was confusing because for the first year we opened a year ago, February, and then we only started charging. The first year that we were open, let everybody play for free. Like we said, it was like under like beta mode, and that was just really just to kind of cover our butts in case something went sideways. But we've been up and running for over a year, so we started charging this past February finally, and we don't do the whole dollar a match thing. We're subscription based. So what happens is when you sign up, when you register and create an account, you pick an account type. So we offer a free account where it's free to play. You get one wrestler and 5 matches a month, and then we have 3 other paid accounts. There's a preliminary, which is 5 wrestlers.
Wait. Did you just say you offer a free account?
We offer a free account.
Like free, like free, like IWA flip free, like.
Yep, you can sign up and create your account and a free account, and you get 1 wrestler and 10 matches a month.
What?
I know anybody playing the IWA blows their minds, but then there's 3 more paid accounts where the first one is the preliminary account, $4.95 a month. You get 3 wrestlers and 50 matches. Next step up is the mid card account where for $9.95 a month you get 9 wrestlers and 110 matches a month. And then the main event account, which is $19.95 a month, you get 25 wrestlers, 150 matches.
Now, Jim, you broke up there a little bit, so I want to go over these one more time. So you said you can create one wrestler for free and get 5 free matches a month.
10 free matches.
10 free matches a month for free in your free account. Now you said your preliminary one is 3 wrestlers, and that's for $4.95 a month.
50 matches.
And you get 50 matches for 3 wrestlers. Or your secondary one is $9.95 a month, and you get 100 matches.
110 matches and
110 matches and 9 wrestlers.
Right.
Nice. And then the main event account or the main event subscription is
$19.95 a month, 25 wrestlers, and 250 matches to use through the month.
Nice. Now, do you have to create all 25 at once, or can you just kind of like build up to it?
No, whatever you want to do. There's no rules of that. Not at this time.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're trying to, again, we're, part of being, a website, is we're on the web for everyone in the world to see. So, I mean, we got people signing up from England, from Mexico, all over the world. I think there's a guy from Germany.
Nice.
So, yeah, there's a lot of, we're not, again, back to the play-by-mail days, we're not limited to worrying about the United States Postal Service getting the bulletins out. We don't have to worry about mailing and, our friends in Canada getting everything 2 weeks later. So being on the web, at the game.
Yeah, and just to give everybody a little more insight, I mean, when you register for the FWA, they have their dashboard where you can kind of look around. You can see some of the old PDFs from the back in the early days. You can, again, he mentioned already about the wrestler profiles, but there's obviously all the league commissioner bulletins are there. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to look around and also interact with.
We put out a monthly magazine called FWA Heat. That's free for everybody that plays the game. It's a pretty cool magazine. Usually stays in character, interviews and we do like league-wide pay-per-views every quarter right now, and that always features world title defenses, features like the best feuds going on from each of the leagues, and those always get big features written about them in FWA Heat magazine, and trying to tie it all together, create this awesome little fantasy wrestling world.
Yeah, it's definitely, just in looking around briefly, it's definitely an intimate setting. Like I said, it definitely, the leagues are, well split up. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, 10 leagues. Right. I think it was breaking up. Sorry. We're up to 10 leagues right now. One of them is a rookie league that runs every other week, every other Wednesday. In fact, I'm gonna run that league as soon as you and I wrap up here. And the other 9 leagues we run Monday nights. We set a deadline for Monday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for getting your strategy updates, your match requests, your promos in. And then as soon as it hits 8:01, man, we start running everything. Everything usually takes about somewhere an hour, maybe 2 hours at the most. Depends on, how much action's in the league. And bang, all the results are up. The match requests, the promos, and everybody goes nuts. The commissioner's reports are there to read. So Monday nights are always a pretty entertaining night. Very, very immediate. We're getting ready to open an 11th league, a Japan league, and everybody's going to create Japanese type characters, and that's actually going to run weekly, like every Wednesday night. Turn around so fast, people want more action faster.
Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, especially since it is subscription based. I mean, if you can provide it, then yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's working out really well, and there's a great group of people playing now. The leagues are really starting to heat up, and there's great feuds going on. There's great writers. I can't say enough about the guys playing the game. Very talented.
I mean that's the one nice thing about I guess having everything on the web and the ability to look back, because you can look back at the other bulletins. You can look at the action as it's developed. So I mean that is the one. I know I'm not the only one, but I know many managers have asked the IWA to maybe have an archive. But I think, like I said, everything that I can think of that they should add is already in play with you guys. So yeah, man, kudos.
Yeah, again, the idea here was to, we talked about this earlier, like wasn't so much creating a website is creating a platform so that everything's there. The website is the container for all the league action. Creating your wrestlers and putting them in the leagues and everything that goes on, and so believe it or not, one of the original concepts we had was, and this is dreaming it out, as the game expands. What we'd love to do is we'd love to sort of like what you do with like fantasy football or any kind of fantasy sports leagues. We'd love to put managers edition where they can come into our website, click a button, create their own league, and set it up however they want to set up. Limit wrestlers, how many wrestlers per league, or how many matches, or whatever they want to do. And we provide the platform for everybody to do what they want to do and how they want to do it. Because that that was another big thing we talked about earlier. I don't subscribe to one way to play the game. I think there's different ways. I talk a lot about the storylines and the feuds and everything, because that's what's always intrigued me the most about like play-by-mail wrestling and doing this. But I'm very supportive of people playing the game the way they want to play it, and even people coming up with new ways to play the game. Whether it's I'm gonna two guys are gonna plot and plan everything out in their feud, or two guys that don't even know each other continue to battle it out, cycle versus cycle.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's like we were mentioning earlier in terms of like having the flexibility, especially if the platform is there, like saying, hey Jim, by the way, me and Chris, I'm really just tired of him, and me and him want to have a feud on our own. Can you open a league for the feud of the century, or whatever we want to call our feud? The next thing me and him go there. We go with 5 wrestlers apiece, and we knock our feud out.
Right. No. Yeah. That's however you want to play it. Again, like I said, I do talk a lot about the angles and stories, but we've always been open to the idea of, there's a lot of a big community out there, people who just want to come in and compete and win titles and glory and not do the feuds. And we've always been open to that. We want to be able to create leagues for anyone to play the game however they want to play it. So the other thing, just to roll back though, when we were talking about like the subscription thing, there was a little bit of controversy. I gotta address it. When we started sending out because the way we don't collect people's credit card numbers. We do the way we bill for the subscriptions is we send you an email that has an invoice, and you click on it, and simply it's done through PayPal, and you can pay. If you're paying by credit card, you just pay right there through, on the through the internet, and pay your invoice, and it's done. It's all very fast and immediate, and that way we don't have the liability of storing people's credit card numbers and information like that, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in the business of security like that. That's risky. So using somebody like PayPal is great. But there was the first month, man, a lot of people freaked out. Guys who kind of joined and then walked away, and they got invoices, but they never like canceled their accounts. There was a lot of and anybody that we sent an invoice to registered, put their email address, and created an account and signed up for something. Obviously not a free account, because we don't send invoices free accounts, but there was a lot of people pissed off about it. And last thing we want to do is we don't want to piss anybody off. But if you didn't cancel your account, we at least had to send you an invoice to. It did elicit responses from a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to play, and that's great. That's fine. So now we know. Just didn't need to get as ugly as it did, which it didn't really get that ugly, but
just putting it out there.
Well, some people didn't understand. They actually thought maybe that invoice was I just billed them on their credit card, but how would I ever bill them for their credit card when I don't have their credit card number?
Nice. It's like no, you haven't been billed yet, but there's your invoice.
Right. And there was one guy who somebody sent me a message. I don't remember who it was. They were like, I don't even know why they sent me an invoice. I never even joined. Well, dude, I had your email address. Yeah, you joined, and how would I have your email?
Someone used that email to sign you up. It's like,
yeah, or something. Maybe it was that. I never even thought of that.
It's like, but you're on, brother. Oh.
Yeah, and we like the subscription. We do like the subscription thing, because it takes that out. Now, it takes a lot of it out of the game. People know what they're dealing with, and it's regular, and it removes a lot of that work out of the. It allows people just to focus on playing. Again, we have really good prices for what we're giving, and it just works out a lot better this way rather. But we do also, and we just started advertising this through the game. If people do want to purchase more matches, all they got to do is send me an email saying, hey, I want 20 more matches, and we'll give you another 20 matches for $1 a match. But I'm going to send, we're going to send you another bill that you got to pay before you get the 20 matches. But we don't want to limit anybody. We want guys to play the game the way they want to play it.
Nice. Now, are you still taking money by mail?
Yeah. I mean, we're still based out of Hershey, PA, which is where the FWA has always been based out of, and the invoices have a little mention, a little section where it says, if you're paying by mail, simply print out this invoice and send it to our PO box. It's that simple.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Some people don't want to do the credit cards, so we want to accommodate everyone, make it as easy as possible so everybody can focus on having fun playing the game.
Jim, how else am I going to wash my weed money? I have to be able to send it by mail. No, I'm kidding.
That's all. Nice.
Oh man.
Send it to me, I'll wash it.
There you go. There we go. Oh man. But now, I mean, yeah, shout out to you, Jim. Like I said, now there is somebody that we got to mention before we end this show, because, I mean, he was adamant. He's like, you know what? I got to be the biggest thorn in this guy's side. So just tell him to give me a shout out. So Mr. Gerald Robinson wanted me to mention him, during your show, and he's like, yeah, see what kind of reaction we can get from Jim. So I was like,
well, Gerald and the FWA had an unfortunate breakup. Yeah, I mean, look, as soon as the IWA report came out where Gerald threw our world belts in the trash can, I mean, dude, someone sent me an image of it the next morning.
Oh, nice.
Look, here's the thing. Gerald can hate on us, and he definitely has. And I understand. I have nothing bad to say about him. In his time in the FWA, he was a great manager. He was a great player. He excelled. He was great at picking the right moves. For us, what happened was it really came down to he was definitely playing, like, pushing buttons, like always finding ways to sort of do things that, like, there was a lot of gentlemen agreements and things, and Gerald sort of played them very differently than how everybody else was playing the game. And even, we lost a couple of managers. Like, there was one manager who was actually a long time, one of my biggest managers, and he actually said, "I'm done. I'm out." And he didn't like the way, and because Gerald did some things like went into a league and wrestled like everybody in the league, like all the jobbers, multiple times, because there wasn't a rule in place for that at the time. And everybody else, no one else even thought to do that kind of stuff. And I'm like, look, there's no rule. I can't punish him. And I backed Gerald, so I lost a couple of really long time great managers. The end result was we have a rookie league where it's supposed to be for rookies, and Gerald put three wrestlers.
Was far from it. Was far from it.
he far from a rookie, and he put three wrestlers in it, and he put another three wrestlers in it, and we just felt at the time it was the way he wants to play the game wasn't gelling with how everybody else in the game was sort of playing it. And we just thought it'd be best if we just part ways. Again, good guy, and would message me and was conscientious. Like he was, when he was battling with guys, and he wanted to learn to play, the more role playing side of the game, and he was open minded, and he's a good dude. I got nothing bad to say. But when you flooded the rookie league, I had to do something. I don't want to kick anybody out of the game. I want thousands of people playing this game. Like, so that there's no motive for me to kick people out. But this just came down to differences in style, and I just thought maybe he was best suited for not our game. So.
And that led to him dumping the FWA belt. Bad Gerald.
Well, maybe I'd be more broken up. It's not like this is the first time that ever happened. I mentioned Howie's brief appearance in the FWA. He came in. This is awesome. This is in the mid '90s. He came into the FWA, and he put I forget the name of his wrestler. It was Howie Sandberg, and he played 1 month. Put in a promo where he brought Johnny B into the ring, and he powerbombed my president character, and then left in and out.
Oh, what a
it was awesome. And then now here's the thing, like everybody's like laughing at me, like it was such an, like, I didn't have to print it. You know what I mean? I could have left it out and thought, but it was it was so well written, and it was so, like, why wouldn't I?
Right,
like,
right.
This is the stuff that makes the game great. So kudos to Howie.
Like you said, you had the power of the press. It's like I could have just left it out, but no, I chose to print it because it was that good. It was hilarious. I could only imagine, brother.
I guess it's the whole, that cliche, or, it doesn't matter if people are talking good about me or bad about me as long as they're talking about me. I guess I learned that then.
Yeah, any publicity is good publicity.
Good publicity, definitely. Yeah, you got it, brother.
Oh, man.
So yeah, unfortunate about Gerald, but look, it seems like he's back in the IWA doing his thing, and he's doing great. So I'm happy for Gerald.
Yeah, I'm actually I forget EPL. I'm in the EPL with him. So I just met Mr. Gerald Robinson, and I think we're working an angle there in the EPL. Nice. So,
well, when you talk to him next time, I said hello, and I send my best. I wish it was more controversial, but
No, yeah,
I'm getting too old for that. I know he's mad, and I get it, and just like I said, it was just a
stay
relationship that we needed to
in the
break
rookie
up.
league. Stay, like,
You flooded the rookie league,
Like, bad joke. Oh man.
Yeah.
Jim, I always say this before I sign off. Is there
Yep.
anything else you want to get on the show before we do sign off?
No, just again, thank you, Flip, for having me on and chatting with you. It was great talking with you all evening, and I think you and I could have probably gone on another day or two if we really wanted to. But just thanks for just giving us the attention, and we're again, we're the whole foundation here is again not to rival with the IWA. We want to do something different, and we want great managers to come play our game and have fun doing it. So appreciate you giving me and us a forum to talk about it, and hopefully we've conveyed some of the things that are going to draw people in and take a look and see if what we're doing appeals to them. We just want people to give it a try. If it's not for them, hey, no hard feelings. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I think those four letters will definitely attract some attention. At least just to take a peek, take a look.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, it's definitely different. I'm not gonna, like I said, it definitely brought some ideas that I know I'm not the only one that had that thought when it came to the IWA format. I mean, and like I said, IWA it's its own monster. They do their things their way. Shout out to them for doing it as long as they've been doing it. Again,
Exactly.
if you're looking for a change of pace, something different, check out the FWA. You can find them at fantasywrestlingalliance.com.
It's a mouthful.
Hey, it pops up in Google. So I tried it. If my dumbass can get there, you'll have no trouble getting there, man. And
You had no problems registering and everything. You did great. So
scored.
you're no dumbass, dude.
Nice. I got one up. All right. Well, Jim, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, man, hopefully it's not the last time we have you on. Come on here and chop it up anytime, brother. Like you said, I know we got a lot to cover, and maybe we can convince some of the other crossover managers to join us and shoot the shits for a while, man.
Sounds great, dude. Anytime you want me back, man, I'm there. I'd be glad to shoot the shit with you some more. Hey,
Oh,
last thing I'm gonna say then you can is just want to thank all the guys currently playing the game, and we wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for the great managers already in the FWA. And again, we're looking forward to anyone looking to check us out. We hope you come in and have a fun time. So thanks.
oh yeah, brother. I said you said it best, man. Go check them out. Like I said, yeah. I mean that free account. That if that doesn't convince you, I mean, yeah. Like I
It's
said,
it's dangerous because everybody that's signing up for free account, it takes like next to no time. Like, hey, how can I get more wrestlers?
oh yeah,
So
and the
it's
rates
it,
the rates are phenomenal, brother. I'll say it. I mean, the subscription base is cool. You can use your managers. I mean, your wrestlers throughout the other various leagues. So
yeah, yep.
the drop downs are pretty plug and play. Like I said, if I could figure it out, but like I said,
Yeah,
definitely you could figure it out, man.
yeah.
But
But one last thing I'll leave you with, then, and I promise I'll finally shut up. Like what I do warn people, especially if you've been playing the IWA a long time, don't come into the FWA and try to play it like the IWA. It's not quite the same. Like you see those 250 matches a month. Don't we don't the way we do things doesn't quite compare to what them. You can't come into our leagues and say, well, you don't have 100 cards a month, so it's a crappy league. It doesn't work quite like that, especially since we have some leagues, like I said, that we're opening a Japanese league that's going to run weekly. The intent there shouldn't be, there's 100 cards, of matches a month, so, that's nothing. It is different.
oh yeah, I mean, you got to definitely, like I said, good warning for, the pace. It's a different pace. It's a different, different. It's a different association. It's the alliance. The Fantasy Wrestling Alliance. So don't come It's like I said, it's a different game completely. Definitely has a lot of the aspect of the other, of the IWA, but
Oh, sure. Yep.
they said, yeah, it's a different monster.
Cool. Flip, thank you so very
Jim,
much.
Jim, again, you've been listening to Jim Crawford and the Fantasy Wrestling Alliance. As for myself, IWA Flip, we'll see you guys next time.